Welcome to the Dressage with Sally channel. My name's Sally and today we're going to talk about if you've ever felt like a bad rider. I've helped hundreds of riders as a dressage coach and trainer, and now with my workout guides I'm going to help many more. First of all, you don't need to feel alone. We've all been there. I've been there, you've been there, everyone you know has been there. I will probably be there between shooting this video and publishing it. So firstly, sometimes stuff happens. The universe puts up barriers to, tell us that we shouldn't be going in that direction. Sometimes these are small barriers just to test us. Sometimes these are really quite large barriers to perhaps make us question whether that was the way forward or if we need a little pivot. How to handle that? Just keep going. You might not be taking giant steps forward. Nobody is ever always taking giant steps forward. So you can take that out of your mind. You don't need to be doing that. You can handle it by taking small steps, taking teeny tiny little steps, taking the smallest step of progress. And the progress might not look like that. You might have had an idea that it looked like this, but your progress on that day might actually look like something over here. That's fine. Sometimes we can't take any steps forward. And so, treading water is fine because treading water isn't going backwards. So don't worry that you're not taking giant leaps forward. Sometimes the smallest little bit of progress in another way is going to help you in a big way in the long run. The other thing to do is to try and take the positive out of the situation. What lesson was learned? Did you learn a lesson out of it? Perhaps there was something there to teach you. Is there a point that the universe is trying to make that you might only see, next month, next year, in 5 years' time? Have faith that there's something there for you to get out of it. The other thing is that you simply might need to take 5. You might need to have a little rest, have a seat, think about what's going on and reflect and review. There's nothing wrong with that. We should be doing that all the time anyway. Whatever the reason, have faith that things will be back on track and you'll be able to restart soon. Okay, the next thing that can make you feel like a bad rider is your management. How is yours going? Sometimes we get to a point where our management isn't serving us or our horse. Perhaps that's where you're at. Management covers all sorts of things. The time we have available to our horse, the feed, the work, and the management of the horse. The number of rides you're getting this week, the number of rides you're getting this month, this season, this year, and also rider mindset. Has yours changed? Has it changed for the better or perhaps not for the better? It might be time to have a look at the way you're handling everything other than the riding and see if you can make some improvements. How's your horse keeping? How's your training management? How's your feed management? Are there some small tweaks you can make, some small improvements? Is it time to make a change in this particular way or that particular way? Think about some of the things you do and see if there might be something there for you. Okay, the next thing to think about is, do you have any goals? How do you even know that you're bad? Which, by the way, I don't really like that word. Bad is a 2 out of 10. If you think you're doing something badly, how would you rate it out of 10? If you're rating yourself a 4 out of 10 at that particular task, 4 out of 10 is insufficient. Okay, a 2 out of 10 is bad. So if you're only doing it at a 4 out of 10, it's insufficient. And this is a very minor distinction, but it can make all the difference. You're not doing something bad if it's a 4 out of 10. It could be slightly better and it'll be a 5 out of 10 and sufficient. So it might not be that much, but it might be an important distinction to make right now. If you're giving yourself a 4 out of 10 for something, then we can be our own harshest critics, don't forget. So perhaps you're being a little hard on yourself. Perhaps at the end of the day, you might be doing that at a 5 out of 10. Or perhaps you could very easily do that particular thing at a 5 out of 10. And that might not be take much effort. And, then you've seen some improvement. Add a little bit more effort again, and you'll be at a 6 out of 10. And this is the way that you can start to improve these things in teeny tiny increments so that you know, you don't have to give yourself a 2 out of 10. You probably didn't deserve it anyway. So add a little bit more effort and, you know, like tiny amounts, and see what difference that makes. But if you haven't set goals in the first place, how do you know you're not achieving anything? You might actually be achieving really interesting things. You might be achieving things you didn't set out to achieve. Have you written your goals and tracked your progress? This is the only way to know if you're doing what you want, if you're going down the path that you set out to go down. Writing your goals down and tracking your progress is a really good way to, you know, you can then go and look back, and you can look back and see where you were at last month, you know, see where you're at 3 months, 6 months ago. And it's only when we look back, that's when we can see how far we've come. And that's when we can see that actually things aren't as bad as what we think they are. It just feels that way because perhaps we don't measure up to that person we saw on Instagram. Perhaps we're not measuring up to, you know, that picture we had in mind when we set out. So recording your goals and writing things down, journaling your progress, this is a really great way to keep track. And that way we can feel good about ourselves, and you can feel good about your achievements, even though they might not be what you set out to do in the first place. Okay, and lastly, are you taking action? Are you writing enough? Are you allocating enough time to do the things? Are you taking care of yourself? All of these things add up. So if you're not quite writing enough, if you're not quite allowing enough time, if you're always in a rush every single day, then, you know, things are going to start to slip and you're going to notice. Not looking after yourself, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not eating the right foods, then you're not going to have the fuel that's required. You know, like riding and keeping a horse or keeping many horses is, you know, a high energy pursuit. You need to be taking care of yourself properly. So make sure you're investing the time in that. And, you know, like, you might not see the rewards now, but certainly down the track you are going to notice, I promise. And if you don't take care of these things now, you're only going to feel worse. It's not going to get better by itself. It's only going to get worse, and that might compound, which you really don't want. So don't feel like you're going nowhere. There's lots of little things you can do to take action today and reap the rewards down the line. Have you got a calendar? Have you got a notebook where you record all the things? You know, do you need to make a note in your calendar? Can you book a lesson with your coach right now? Can you message a riding buddy and plan on riding together? There are some really easy ways to get started. Taking only 1 or 2 steps of action now can really change your momentum. And then you'll feel better after taking these 2 little steps, and you'll want to take more. And then, of course, the momentum will get going and you'll really start to feel like you're on a roll. And remember, you don't need motivation, you need momentum. And these tiny moments of action will get you there. Whatever the area you need to investigate, remember, everyone's been where you are right now. Everyone has had their own self to deal with, to get moving and carry on. Have your pity party, but put your boots back on and get out there. You don't have to do much, but you do have to do it. I hope this video has something useful for you, and remember to look out for my workouts. Each weekend I post them to the Dressage with Sally Facebook page every weekend. And if you've missed those, then they are on the website dressagewithsally.com as a blog, so you can have a record. You can go back as far as you like and use all of those workouts there. And if you want your next ride to be happy, confident and connected, grab yourself a Dressage with Sally workout guide. They are, again, on the website, and you can find a guide that's right for you. And of course, use the code YouTube for 10% off. I also have a free guide for you to try out on the website. Go to the shop page and look up Secrets of the Circle. There's a whole bunch of workouts for you to try for free and see if you like the product. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate that there's a lot out there demanding your attention, so I really appreciate your ears here on the Dressage with Sally channel. I'll talk to you next time.